A Myriad Entertainment presents City of Darkness, the audiobook. Part 1, Sweet Dreams. Chapter 1. The Placebo Effect.
It's raining outside. The heavy downpour creates a consistently monotone soundscape that masks any ambient noise that might otherwise be heard coming from a city street. Even New York City. It's the middle of the night, and a luxury sedan with a driver pulls up in front of a decidedly high-tech looking building. The driver opens his umbrella, then the door for his passenger, who he unsuccessfully tries to keep from getting wet. He then follows him inside. A meeting is being held at the Ludwig Institute for Dream Research. The chatter of 6 men, 3 in military attire and 3 in business suits, can be heard in heavy discussion, as the building's controversial namesake, Dr. John Ludwig, enters the conference room. The infamous 70-year-old neurosurgeon is no stranger to these types of proceedings, and relishes any opportunity to try and prove everyone wrong. He's drying himself off with a towel as he steps up to the podium. Following close behind is his personal assistant, carrying a briefcase and a binder filled with documents. Dr. Ludwig adjusts the microphone, then begins to speak. Gentlemen, please. Is it really so hard to imagine? We use this kind of technology every day, our cell phones, our Wi-Fi-enabled devices. Even AM/FM radio uses waves of electrical impulses to transmit data over great distances. Are brain waves really so different? The first military officer, who is seated prominently in the front, clears his throat, then sarcastically answers the rhetorical question. Really, doctor, cell phone signal is one thing, but what you're suggesting, sending the thoughts of one person into the mind of another, as if it were a text message or email. Are you trying to bring an end to social media? One of the businessmen chimes in, say goodbye to Facebook. The men begin to laugh. Dr. Ludwig, who looks visibly annoyed at their skepticism, walks over to the 70-inch monitor behind him and picks up a remote. Not exactly. He presses play. A video demonstration involving 2 lab rats appears on the screen. He begins to narrate. The susceptibility of the brain is most prevalent during the unconscious state. What we have discovered, gentlemen, is during the REM phase of a normal sleep cycle, we have access to areas of the mind heretofore were unavailable. Test subject A has been implanted with a transmitter, not unlike the ones you have in your pockets, but exponentially more advanced, and it has completed its 3rd and final pass through the maze, with completion times of 1 minute, 45 seconds, and 35 seconds respectively. Subject B has been asleep the entire time. It has the corresponding receiver, and will now make its first attempt through the maze. Watch what happens. Without hesitation, Subject B successfully navigates the maze, in under 20 seconds. This could not be possible, unless he had already seen it, felt it, experienced it. Similar tests have rendered similar results. The test is simple, gentlemen, but the technology behind it is not. The room is filled with gasps. Dr. Ludwig pauses the video. We have achieved a 99% success rate in all of our test subjects. The snarky military man from earlier now appears humbled. Can we see it, doctor? Can we see the device? Dr. Ludwig hits play on the remote. On the screen, he opens a briefcase that reveals 2 syringes. There is an intermittent light coming from each one. The green one is the transmitter and the red one is the receiver. And now, for the real reason you were summoned here. The camera pulls back from the briefcase to reveal the surgical lab. A pristine white, technology-infused operating room, computer and diagnostic equipment line the walls, as well as computer terminals located at either end of the room. In the center, 2 human test subjects via split screen, securely attached to motorized operating tables. The insertion point will be at the base of the cranium, the part of the skull that encloses the brain. It has a large oval opening. This is where the brain and spinal cord connect. The subjects will be heavily sedated so they will feel no pain. The entire procedure takes about 2 hours, then once they are awake, a series of calibration tests will be initiated to ensure the implants are functioning properly. They are required to check in once a week, and over the course of 1 month, each participant will keep a detailed journal. Subject A, the receiver, will document his dreams, including any daydreams, feelings of déjà vu, or any thoughts that may seem out of the ordinary. Subject B, the transmitter, will document all of his waking hours, from the time he gets up in the morning, until he falls asleep again at night. Will the participants ever meet? Asked one of the men. No. Absolutely not. They were each given a placebo and told they are participating in an ongoing clinical trial for a new over-the-counter sleep aid, soon to be on store shelves. They will be completely oblivious to what we are actually doing. What about the ethics, John? Who sanctioned human trials? Spouts one of the businessmen. All of you, Dr. Ludwig fires back. When you signed those lucrative non-disclosure agreements. Gentlemen, let me remind you of something. We are not the only ones mining in these fields. We don't have the time, and I don't have the patience for the kind of bureaucratic oversight that would grind this crucial research to a halt. If anyone is having any reservations about what we are actually doing here, now is the time to speak up. The businessman pushes away from the table and stands up. Gentlemen, I'm afraid I'll have to rescind my involvement at this time. I'll return the money, but I will continue to honor the NDA. Dr. Ludwig looks down at his paperwork, and then at his assistant. That's unfortunate, but if your goals no longer align with our own, far be it from me to keep you here. My assistant will show you out. The man avoids eye contact with everyone as he nervously exits the room. Dr. Ludwig's assistant follows him as the door closes behind them. After a few seconds, a loud crash grabs the attention of the remaining cabal. They listen reluctantly as the sounds of a struggle can be heard penetrating through the thin walls of the conference room. Then silence. The assistant re-enters the room. He looks disheveled. He adjusts his appearance, then takes his place behind Dr. Ludwig. You've made incredible progress, John. We look forward to seeing your test results once human trials begin. As the meeting begins to adjourn, one of the military attendees who hadn't spoken all evening, abruptly asks a question. Dr. Ludwig, you stated that there was a 99% success rate in all clinical trials. What I want to know is, what happened to the remaining 1%? The doctor pauses, then gathers his paperwork. Well, in the interest of full disclosure. He picks up the remote and continues playback of the presentation. On the screen, a close-up of a white lab rat clawing at its glass enclosure, frantically trying to escape as the camera pulls back to reveal its hair drenched in blood. The bodies of partially eaten rats, strewn all around him. The men, disturbed by what they see, look away in disgust.